Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. Game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He is your host, Ben Mason.
He is your co-host, Sandra Luketic. And today we're talking 1991's Double Impact. We assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. I have seen this movie a lot. Sandra, please tell me, what is your experience with this film?
So I know I've seen this movie when I was younger. I probably only saw it like once or so. I didn't remember much. There was a couple of scenes that stood out that I remembered, that I had vague recollection of, and the fact that it was Van Damme playing two characters. That's what I remember. So this was a very fresh take on the movie, even though I know for a fact I've seen it.
Yeah, I bet I can guess one of the scenes that stood out to you.
Yeah, which one's that?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Van Damme.
Yes.
Love him.
Okay.
We've covered him before. I have seen so many of his movies, I don't think I can actually name all of them. But I picked this one because I remember it just being so incredibly ridiculous that it was a film worthy of the bargain bin.
Well, see, I know that when I think of Van Damme, I think of his phenomenal acting prowess. And what better than to have him play two characters? It's only way to go.
Do you know why he did this?
You know what? No, not. I can't even think of something funny to say.
He did it because he wanted to show that he could do things outside of action films. So he played the Chad character to show that he could be, quote, funny and romantic and try and open himself up to a broader genre of filmmaking and not just continuing down this path of being an action star.
The irony of doing that in an action movie seems to have been lost on him, I guess, because you're just showing that you can play a different type of character in an action movie.
And that different type of character, I find, is shitty. Like, it's not good. He didn't do a good job.
Somebody's got to tell him. It's like, you want to get away from action movies, but guess what, buddy? That's what you're good at, and that's what got you here. Stick with what you know.
Do you know what this was loosely based off of? You've brought it up to me many a time. A film that starred Cheech and Chong.
The Corsican brothers?
Yep.
How?
Well, from what I gather, the Alexandre Dumas story is about two brothers separated at birth. They were conjoined twins, separated at birth, who can, from a distance, feel each other's pains.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what this originally was supposed to be. It was originally called Corsican Brothers. It was just very loosely based off of it. But yeah, two brothers separated at birth who encounter each other later on in their lives. I had no intent on picking this based off of you telling me about the Corsican Brothers a few times that we've talked about it. It just kind of worked out that way. That's really the only connection. I just found it really funny. I thought you would enjoy that.
At least we didn't have to watch the Corsican Brothers, because I tried to go back to that one and that was not good.
Before we get into the movie, before we get into your game,
yeah, man.
I have a question for you that bugged me every time I watch this movie.
Okay.
The accents. How do they have the same accent?
Well, they don't.
Go on.
He's deliberately trying to do two accents. It's just not working.
I didn't hear any difference between the two at all.
There's maybe one or two scenes near the beginning where Chad kind of has a pseudo attempt at an American accent, but then he just drops it for the rest of the movie.
And that's the thing, because Chad was raised in France, brought to the States.
Yeah.
But Alex was raised in Hong Kong.
And has a French accent, yeah.
And they sound the exact same.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just I had to clarify that one.
You're putting way too much weight already into Van Damme's capabilities.
Well, he was trying. He was trying something new. In his own words. I don't see it, but let's.
If it's not martial arts itself or showing your butt off on camera, you can't give Van Damme too much credit.
Well, at least we don't see him do splits or show his ass in this movie.
We do see him do splits.
Yeah, we also see him show his ass. Yeah, you're right.
I was going to say, did you even watch this movie?
Twice for double the impact.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
You set yourself up.
Well,
all right,
no.
Let's play your game, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Is it really a game?
How so?
All right, let's see. Van Damme.
Correct.
Bloodsport.
Yep.
Universal Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Last Action Hero.
I didn't count Last Action Hero because it's just his likeness.
Okay. Is there another one?
No.
Okay, so I got that. All right. Bolo Young.
Yes.
Bloodsport.
Yes.
We've covered Geoffrey Lewis, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Shit. In what?
Just one movie.
Oh, he's so good too. I don't know.
Tango and Cash, he played Captain Schroeder.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
That's okay. That's why I wrote it down.
Yeah. Great actor though, right?
Oh, he's so good.
Very good. Very, very good. All right, not the worst game. Well done.
No, I didn't say we were done.
Oh, there's a fourth one?
Yeah, man.
Who's the fourth?
Philip Chan, who played Raymond Zhang.
Zhang. Oh, we covered Zhang in another movie? Oh, God. I have no idea.
Also, Bloodsport, he played Captain Chen.
I don't even remember that character.
That's what I had. 3 of these actors were all in Bloodsport together.
Well, Van Damme and Bolo Young are apparently very, very good friends because of Bloodsport. They became besties there, and they were going to do a sequel, and it just never came to fruition.
Well, Bolo's awesome. So
he's terrifying.
He's so good for a villain, though. That's like, he is terrifying.
I would love to see him as a hero.
I don't know if I could buy it. It'd be like the kind of hero that the entire time I'm waiting for him to stab everyone in the back.
He's like the Stone Cold of action films.
Oh.
Right? The
Sure.
anti-hero.
Yeah.
You want to root for him, but he always plays a badass villain.
Like I said, I would think he'd be the kind of character who's just literally waiting to stab you in the back.
Yeah. He's so good. He's shot in the face in this movie. In the face!
Yeah. And seems to show no ill effects from it. It's like,
none.
If it wasn't for the scar, you'd have no idea.
Bullet goes in under his right eye, comes out of his left cheek, and he keeps fighting. The guy's insane. Like, he's written so strong in every movie.
Yeah.
Bargain bin MVP, maybe?
No.
Who are our MVPs? Dick Miller, obviously.
He's definitely one of our heroes, but I don't know if he's in enough to be an MVP.
Okay, who do we have, though? We have Dick Miller, Corey Feldman. Haim? No.
Oh, you haven't done that much, Haim. Come on, man.
I know. Paulie?
No.
No. Ethan Embry.
Just let it go, because we're not going to get it off the top of our head. When we finish recording, we're going to hit stop and be like, oh, yeah, it was this, this, and this.
Yeah, okay, fine. Next time.
Yeah, that's how I usually get it. You say next time, we're going to forget by the next time.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Double Impact.
Oh, man, great movie. It's that movie with Van Damme and Dennis Rodman, right?
That's Double Team. Did you watch the right movie?
No. All right.
Why are you stalling? Why are you stalling?
Let's get into it.
All right, man.
All right. So we open a helicopter shot of Hong Kong and then cut to a celebration for the opening of the Victoria Harbour Tunnel. Here we get the intro to Paul and Catherine Wagner, their infant sons, Chad and Alex, business partner Nigel Griffith, and Frank Avery, who is the bodyguard to the Wagners. So, long story short, we have the celebration. That night, the Wagners are double-crossed by Griffith and are murdered by the henchman Moon, played by Bolo Yeung.
That's really sad, too, because I was enjoying the friendship that they were kind of hinting at between Frank and the dad, because I don't know if his name Paul. Like, yeah. I was liking their rapport when they were on the comms talking to each other, and Frank's like, "I got you a gift," and they had a nice little banter. I wouldn't have minded a bit more of this.
I agree if they didn't cast somebody for Paul that seemed like a villain. Because the guy who plays Paul Wagner seems like a Bond villain to me.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all. I thought it was poor casting.
But the performance was there, because I really was buying these two as like buddies. They seemed to care. It was nice.
I think that was really carried by Geoffrey Lewis, though. He's so good in this film.
Yes, but it takes two to tango.
And one to cash.
You're not me, man.
Sorry. So yeah, Frank. He was
thinking of the same stupid joke.
I know you were. I could tell. I stole your thunder.
I paused too long, is what happened.
Frank tries to rescue the infants, but escapes with only one. The gunshots in this opening scene, the squibs, are insane. It's like one gunshot looks like it rips Frank's arm completely off.
And yet Bolo can take one to the face and just keep on ticking.
It's because he's Bolo Yeung. Nothing can kill that man.
Yeah, I disagree, but okay.
It's a great setup of Moon, though, as a force to be reckoned with. Like, getting shot in the face and he keeps fighting. What I don't understand is how the nanny escapes with the other baby and then just leaves him at a local orphanage while Frank takes the other twin back to America, or I guess France first.
Yeah, like, I can understand how the nanny got away because Frank is still providing cover fire. But it's not like it's her first day on the job. She doesn't know anybody. She doesn't know how to reach Frank. Literally, the only move she has is to take the kid to the orphanage.
I guess.
That doesn't seem right.
Nothing in this movie is right. Nothing. Because we cut to the modern day, and a now grown Chad, who's an aerobics instructor, I guess,
and karate teacher,
is hitting on all of his students in this aerobics class.
Just hitting on? He's stretching the one lady.
Oh, yeah. He's basically molesting this woman.
She's not complaining. They're loving it.
Nobody else is complaining either.
Look at the shot. All of those women are just ogling him.
My next note just says, Chad fights a Chad.
What is this guy?
I don't know.
So he gets called in to replace the karate teacher, and he does indicate that he is also a karate instructor, but not that day. He was in the middle of his gymnastics, even though it was just stretching.
Sure.
And we get this guy who's like, I don't know, Kano wannabe with long hair. And he's just going on about his kicks. And it's like, what are you doing?
It's the beginning of a film that is riddled with problems.
Well, I think you'd be hard pressed to find another one after this.
Oh, dude. It's anything we pick after this is going to be gold.
I do love how, like, even the geese in that dojo are all like multicolored. I think the guy that kicks him is even wearing like a fluorescent pink one.
Oh, there's a lot of pink gis in this.
Yeah.
We cut up to Frank's office where he's looking at photos of who we later learned to be Alex. And Frank's like, that has to be him. I'm like, yeah, of course it is. What gave it away? He looks exactly like Chad.
There's too many instances in this movie of people not believing their brothers, including the brothers. It's like you're looking at a mirror image of yourself.
It comes up in my notes, trust me.
Okay.
Frank's reveal that he isn't Chad's uncle and they have to go to Hong Kong. Sure, there's so much information here that's just lost that we're expecting Chad to understand.
Well, we're not, because he doesn't necessarily give him all of the information. You know what he could have started this conversation with? You have a brother.
Yeah,
Let's go find him. He just says, oh, we're going to Tokyo, and doesn't tell him why.
Well,
if he was to be like,
going to Hong Kong.
Sorry, Hong Kong. Is it if he just said you have a long lost brother and we might have found him, he'd probably be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, we have to go to Hong Kong for 2 weeks. Also, I'm not your uncle. I raised you for the last 25 years. Yes, you weren't born in France either. I just raised you there. You know what? That could explain his accent. Not Alex's, though.
Well, Alex grew up in Hong Kong, so.
Exactly. So we cut to them arriving in Hong Kong, and I cannot get over Chad's attire. Teal polo, pink shorts.
Uh-huh. And black silk underwear, which we'll find out in a little bit.
Yes. They get to a mahjong parlor, which is Alex's club. Chad gets yelled at and handed money before being sexually assaulted by Danielle, who mistakes him for Alex. So Danielle is Alex's girlfriend. Just a weird scene. Confused me very much as a child when I first saw this, because this movie came out when I was 9. Hands in the pants. Yes, black silk underwear. Big surprise, awkward situation. Alex showing up and headbutting him into oblivion, I think, is hilarious.
Yeah, well, because Chad had no objections to this random unknown woman like sexually assaulting him.
Oh, no, not at all. He was totally in for it. Yeah, but he's also like a ladies' man, but he's dumb and he looks ridiculous. He kind of reminds me of Arnold from Twins.
Arnold in Twins was raised on an island. He was very different because he was socially separated.
Yeah, but you look at Chad and Alex, and it's Arnold and Danny DeVito. You've got the...
Which one's Danny DeVito?
Alex, the street smart hustler, for sure. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Alex and Chad at this point? Like their looks, even.
I'm definitely more behind Alex because, yeah, Chad just looks like he ate fluorescent.
Yeah, basically. It's like he ate the 90s and threw it up all over himself.
I do find it hilarious that they're like, we need to go find Alex. Luckily, we were given the exact address to his mahjong club. Well, that wasn't much of a search.
No, even Frank's like, Chad, look at him. He's your brother. Like, how about you tell Chad about this first?
You're not even going looking for him. You're just going to go visit him because you know where he is.
And when you're thinking about how ridiculous this scenario is, you get the worst dialogue in the movie. It's so poorly written. Because a line from Alex. See that door? You've got both of you 10 seconds to get the fuck out, or the fish tank may be better. What? What? What are you saying? You've got both of you 10 seconds to get the fuck out, or the fish tank may be better?
Well, the fish tank is a wall between his office and the club, so I'm thinking he's implying he's going to put them through the fish tank.
But why? That makes so much more work for him.
Why is he so angry at them?
He's angry throughout the entire film.
It's like, we showed up to find you, and you're just mad at us for that.
But I guarantee Frank never reached out to Alex and be like, hey, I've got your twin brother. He's like, what do you mean twin brother? He's like, all right, I've got a great story for you. He shows up and expects everything to go smoothly. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I find absolutely hilarious is that apparently this private investigator that I guess was hired to find Alex can give them the exact address of the Mahjong club, but not, I don't know, a phone number.
Anything.
So let's just call them in advance and be like, hey, we're coming.
And Frank, who we're led to believe is a very smart guy, is confused the entire time as to why these two don't understand what's going on, when no one has told them a single thing that is going on.
Yeah, because as silly as it sounds, Chad was just like upended from his home, told that it's not his uncle. It's like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
This movie makes no sense. None. At all.
But
what?
But what? Like you're along for the ride? Like there's got to be a but, right?
Okay, the but here is it has to make sense eventually, right? No, it doesn't ever. And nothing is clarified. Nothing. One thing that does work in this movie, and it really shocked me, the visual effects. Having Van Damme play two characters on screen at the same time in this movie looks amazing.
Does it?
To me, it does, yeah.
Were you watching a high def version of it, or no?
Well, no. But like blocking with stand-ins and everything is done so well.
The stand-in portions is done well. It's when they're both on camera that it really, really shows that that's its age and technology. Because there's even like almost like a white glow outline that you can clearly see this is being cropped in there.
I missed that altogether. Even when you see both of them on screen, you can tell. Of course, you can tell that there's some editing going on. But for 1991, it looks really good, in my opinion.
I can forgive it.
Can you forgive the whole Alex chewing on an unlit cigar thing? Because he does it throughout the entire film.
That's his gimmick. That's his shtick, you know? It's gotta...
But why? That thing would be so fucking soggy. Like, it makes you look tough without smoking, I guess.
Maybe it hasn't been lit in that long because it's too wet to light. Because he's had it in his...
Go on.
He can't get another cigar.
Nailing it. Keep going there.
It's just a stupid attempt to look tough, man. That's all there is to it.
And the weird thing is it does, but he does it too many times. So Frank tells the boys about their origins and the murder of their parents by Zhang and Griffith. But I have a question for you here. Why is Frank yelling this story to them?
He's a fan of old school 80s wrestling where every promo was yelling.
And his proof is showing them a photo of two people with twin babies.
Could have gotten that from
anywhere. And they're like, oh yeah, that's totally us.
It's gotta be us, because you can tell this is me. This baby looks exactly like me. You definitely didn't pull this out of the most recent JCPenney catalog.
Okay, to recap what happened in this in these last few minutes. Frank and Chad show up at Alex's Mahjong parlor bar thing. Danielle shows up, brings Chad to the back, grabs his dick, hitting on him hard, and he's not sure what's going on, but he's totally in for it. Alex shows up, freaks out, headbutts him, knocks him out. They get into this, your parents were murdered, here's a photo of you two as children. And out of nowhere, Alex is like, "You guys want to see some real action?" Why?
Did you honestly expect me to have an answer to that?
I was hoping, because I don't.
It's just to progress the movie along, man.
Which leads us into the selling of the cars scene. Can you please explain the setup for this scene?
So they meet another boat in the middle of the water, and they uncover some tarps, which are 2 Mercedes, I believe they say.
Yeah.
And in the trunk is even a bunch of other stuff like cigarettes, and I didn't get like a super good look, but he's a smuggler, right?
Exactly. American contraband, basically.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense for a French guy who grew up in Hong Kong.
Thank you for bringing that up. It makes no sense. Why is Frank surprised to see the gun on the boat?
Maybe he thought Alex was going to be a wholesome and trustworthy guy.
Why? Well, like, he hired the worst private eye ever. He has no knowledge about Alex's life. What does Alex even do? Like, seriously, what does he do?
I think it's just meant to be like he does a mix mesh of whatever, smuggling, thugging, I don't know.
Right? They never tell us.
But yeah, you'd think this private investigator who was apparently able to locate him and give them an exact location would be like, yeah, he's also clearly,
shady as fuck.
Yeah, like give me some other information. But no.
Again, here's a photo. Yeah, this has to be him. Yeah, we know that.
That private investigator's like, I'm literally doing the bare minimum of what you paid me for.
I am just raking in cash right now. So they're ambushed by the Hong Kong Marine Police in probably the most ridiculous scene we've covered in an action film. Because the shootout that happens between the buyers and Alex and company makes no sense. They claim that it's a setup, and now we have a slow-mo boat chase scene between Alex, Chad, Frank, and then the Hong Kong Marine Police.
Oh man, where do I start with this?
Okay, go, because I have questions.
They're not getting away fast enough.
Yeah.
So Chad decides they need to lighten the boat.
Mm.
I don't actually know if that works. Maybe it does, so I'm not going to question that. But Alex gets so mad at him for letting the 2 cars out, even though he's still got the money already.
Yes.
Fine. And then they have Frank shoot out the tank of one of the cars, which I'm sure was one of your favorite scenes.
Mm-hmm.
These Marine cop ships that are not even moving that fast cannot continue pursuit. Even though if you look at the shot, it's just like, go 2 feet to the side.
Just go around them. Steer around them. They're right next to each other.
That's what I meant by go 2 feet to the side.
I know. It's a giant bay. There is nothing stopping you. Honestly, they are turning when this happens. So if you go to the right around the cars, you are actually making ground on them.
Yes.
Whatever. We'll just cut to a market scene. Abandon that storyline because they even know it's going nowhere. The killing of the frog, I don't remember.
No. Maybe that's what they used all of the money in the briefcase that Alex just had that we never see again on, is frog.
That was shocking. Probably the most shocking scene in the film for me.
I'm with Chad on this one, though, because he is very hesitant to just eat a frog. And they're like, yeah, like, grow up, get a pair. And it's just like, I don't think I'd do that either.
Yeah, I love how nonchalant Frank is about everything. Because if I were Chad to be like, you really don't have a handle on anything you're talking about. But he's Uncle Frank. Oh, wait, he's not Uncle Frank.
He's just Frank.
He's just Frank. Well, he's just Frank because he showed me a picture of a couple that have kids. And apparently I'm one of the kids because he says I am. So completely trustworthy. He's already admitted to lying. And he believes everything he says from this point on.
I can accept the whole, like, I'm not your uncle, but I did raise you, so you can still trust me type thing, right? But there's just so many other things that Chad is just...
Dude, Frank is all about this tunnel with zero proof. And the brothers have no recollection because they were babies. Whose mission is this?
Maybe you can explain something to me.
Probably not, but I'll try.
Why is this tunnel worth so much money? Like, is it a toll?
I don't know.
How is it generating this revenue that they keep claiming it's so... Like, maybe if there was a lot of money paid for the initial construction, but where's all the other value of this thing?
Okay, let's refine your questions. What's the point of this movie? What is the plot? How does it make sense?
Well, it really makes it seem like they're trying to reclaim something that was theirs. Money, I don't know if there's a stature for owning the tunnel, but really it should just be revenge.
Right? That would make more sense. Especially for Frank. He's like, this is your birthright. Like, well, what? What is? What is their birthright?
That's the tunnel.
Fine. The tunnel's not named after anyone. It's not like what I'm so confused. I don't know what we're doing here. Seriously, man, like what does Frank want them to do?
This is such a prime example of a situation where less would be more. Just make it a revenge storyline. You don't need to get into all of this explanation of the tunnel, whatever. Just literally, these are the people that killed your parents. Let's go get them.
But how do you even prove that? These guys murdered your parents. Prove it.
Well, then I would say that the writers of the movie could have spent less time trying to come up with all this convoluted tunnel stuff.
Do you know who the writers of the movie were? The director and Van Damme.
Oh, man. I guess Van Damme was showing his writing chops as well.
Do you know what else the director has done?
Oh, God, you know I don't, but I'd love to hear this.
Only Van Damme movies.
It's not like a pseudonym for Van Damme, is it? Like he's not directing the movie under a different name?
It may as well be. But then there's the reveal that Danielle works for Griffith.
Because of course she does.
Yeah, otherwise she doesn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah. I love that all of these years later, after the murder of the parents, Alex just happens to be this smuggler living in Hong Kong that works for, or that is at least associated with the murderers of his parents.
I'm still confused as to why he knows English.
Well, everybody speaks English in this movie.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It just it doesn't.
There's a few people like in the mahjong parlor, the guy who gives him money, but I'm not going to complain about that because obviously for translation purposes and watching an action movie, nobody wants to sit and reading like subtitles. So fine, like make the language English. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay, we'll accept that.
Mm-hmm. You'll give it one pass. You got one so far.
So Alex convinces Danielle to look into Griffith's dealings. Of course, we knew that was going to happen. Chad's mistaken for Alex and is abducted by Zhang and his crew. I'm okay with this scene. I really am.
Yeah, which part?
I like the cigar box with Paul's initials on it.
You like that? Oh, God.
Yes. Well, okay. Well, why don't you?
That's one of the worst parts. Is Zhang that stupid that he's like, I'm going to keep this item from the person's that I killed crime scene? No, ditch the box. He even has the lighter, which he decides to throw out that day of all days.
It works well for TV or for film. And I don't think the police are exactly on the up and up in this world.
Fine. It just...
I like it. I like the fact that it's just Zhang rubbing what he thinks is Alex's face in this, because he has no reason to believe that Alex understands any of this, let alone the fact that he's accidentally abducted Alex's twin brother, Chad. So this is Zhang being a right dick.
But he's not, because he doesn't realize it.
Yes, he does.
Does he?
Oh, he totally thinks he's rubbing Alex's face in all of this, of course.
I got the impression he didn't even know that that's the kids until later.
Oh, no. I think he knew right away. Because you look at every time he disrespects something of Paul Wagner's property, like he has this really smug look he gives Van Damme. He's like, I'm doing this and you don't know what I'm doing. I know who you are and you don't understand what's happening. That's one thing I really like about that character.
I'm not buying it, man. I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not.
I don't know why, but all right.
They were going to snuff out these guys as infants. You're telling me that if he knew where he was all this time, he wouldn't have just had him killed?
Okay, well, who's paying way too much attention to details now? I think it makes Zhang a much more detestable character. I think that's intentional.
I feel like I have to go back and rewatch it, because I think that there was a scene where he's even told that these were their kids. But I'm not 100% on that.
You know what? No. I'm going to have to agree with you. Because of the revelation scene where they're like, there's two of them.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there was one part where I think it was even Bolo Yang who told them or told him some sort of connection with it. And I'm drawing a blank on it, but I swear I got the impression that at one point in the movie, Zhang is like he becomes privy to the information that these are those twin brothers.
This movie just got worse for me.
Yeah. Which means that he wasn't doing some sort of diabolical scene. He's just an idiot who kept a piece of evidence from the crime scene and just happened to throw away the lighter that day in front of Chad, who's super angry because he's been confronted with this for the first time.
I like my thoughts and theory more, but I admit that they are wrong. I think it makes the movie that much more interesting, but you are right. Oh god. I like this movie up until now.
I'm sorry I took that away from you, and I don't want to be right about this, but I just couldn't give it that credit because
oh god,
I can't remember when it happened, but I was pretty sure watching the movie that there was a eureka moment for him.
Yeah, there is. You're right. It's just oh god, this movie sucks.
We're not at that part yet, man.
Oh god.
Got to leave some suspense for the listeners on what you might have felt about this movie.
Well, it's change. You're hearing this change in real time. So Zhang tries to get Chad to join his gang, thinking he's Alex, and he denies and gets the shit kicked out of him. And man, the lighter bit really got me, and now it's meaningless.
Yeah,
he just can't get Chad's father's lighter to work and throws it on the ground.
But I guarantee you that's an oversight in the writing, because the way that they make Chad's reaction on his face, seeing that and everything, they want to give you that impression, but they just didn't realize their shortcomings in the storytelling.
Bolo Young is a monster.
It's kind of a dick move, though.
It is. Is this a decent fight scene?
No.
He punches him in the balls.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't seem as effective as it should be.
I do love the part, though, where he takes him into the container
Oh,
and just repeatedly smashes him against the wall. Because in an action movie, you expect to see something like that, but they'll do it like once.
Yeah.
He's just literally doing it over and over and over again until he's told to stop.
It's really good. He's such a great villain.
Yeah.
The line, if you find any more of that French cognac, I didn't know there was any other kind but French, but if you find any more of that French cognac, you know where to find me. Decent foreshadowing, because you know that's coming up again.
Also, not something he'd say if he knew that that was the son that they're going to kill.
True. Why not just lock him in the shipping container?
Why not just kill him?
Exactly.
These people don't seem to show any remorse about it. If they do have the police in their back pocket to the point that they can walk off with evidence from a crime scene, I don't think they're going to hold back.
So we cut to Chad, Frank, and Alex. Chad explains what happened, and he tells Frank and Alex he's in. In on what? What is the plan?
It's a revenge story.
Okay, it's not clarified. Alex says he's in too after a short time. Again, on what? Like, what is your plan? Seriously, your father had to build a tunnel. He borrowed money from someone. That guy turned on him and killed him. This is your birthright. What exactly is a birthright? The tunnel. What do we get from the tunnel? I don't know. Well, we need to put a plan in action here. I'm down. Yeah, me too. What's the plan? What are we doing? Are we exposing Zhang and Griffith? On what grounds? There's no proof that they killed the brother's parents or stole anything. They have no plan.
This is why it would be better if they just kept it simple, gave us just a quick, plausible reason that they would believe that these are the people that murdered their parents, and now they just want to ruin them. Maybe you don't want to go as far as, say, murder them, because that's not what our protagonists are going to do, but we're going to ruin their business and we're going to expose them or whatever. Just revenge would be the only simple plot device that would make sense here.
But Frank would have to prove that there's a reason to take revenge.
And that's the thing, like, during the course of this movie, we know that Frank was a witness to the actual murder. He was there. You could easily have made it that that's what he was researching with the private investigator.
You know what would make this movie great? If Frank was the actual villain and he lied to these two brothers about what Zhang and Griffith did and used them to take down his two opponents so he could take over their business or something.
Yeah, and then at the end of the movie, you get like the alternative version of the flashback that shows Frank actually being the villain.
Right? Like the parents are driving away and Paul's like, yeah, Frank, you can take the night off. And Frank's like, okay. And then Fane's driving away and then just like cuts them off, kills them. Like, that would be amazing. That would be such a great twist in an early 90s action film. Give it some credibility, because right now we're all fucking lost because the entire plot of this movie doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I'm lost. I get it. It's just not good.
Yeah, well, okay, fine. So Kara, Griffith's bodyguard, confronts Danielle, who's going through files in, I think we can agree, a very suspicious manner.
Yes. And also, is this woman like security at the company?
I don't know. She reminds me of Famke Janssen in Goldeneye.
Fine, but what authority does she have?
I don't know. This happens twice in the film.
And this is the less uncomfortable version.
All I can say is, Danielle, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
She does not. So Alex takes Chad and Frank to an island with a massive abandoned hotel?
Why?
Is it? What is it? It's a hotel, right?
Yeah, it's like an abandoned hotel, but
And this is their
why?
base. I don't know.
Why? Like, I think there's even something said where it's like, oh, this will be the perfect place to set up an ambush or something like that. But it's like, for what? Do you have a plan to draw them there? Is that what you're going to do?
That's my question too. It's like a fortress. This is a perfect place for an ambush. They're not going. Okay, and when they do go there, you get captured. This is not a good plan for you. Why does Alex pull the horn to get their attention and be like, hey guys, this is the place? Like, yeah, no shit, you're heading right for it. I'm pretty sure they'd figure that one out.
Yeah. You know what else would kind of set them off on that it's the place? If you just stop there.
Yeah. Well, they're already heading for shore. It's the only dock. Yes, this is where you're going. There's bird shit everywhere. Let's play this one up for laughs. So stupid.
Well, play it up for laughs. Let's hear
it. There are no laughs. Laughs do not happen.
Aw, okay.
Did you laugh here? Tell me.
No, of course not.
There's even a part here where it looks like Chad, who has like his fancy luggage, trips going up the stairs, but he doesn't trip on anything.
No, because they don't pan the camera down low enough to see his feet.
No. He just stumbles, and then they do a wide shot, and he's just standing there, and Alex laughs at him, but nothing really happened. So what are we supposed to laugh at?
I think they imply that he tripped because he stepped in bird shit.
But he didn't.
Well, because they don't show his feet.
But they play a sound like he put his foot through a step. But when they cut back, he's just standing awkwardly and nothing is broken. So nothing happened?
But Alex found it hilarious.
You see my problem here, right?
No, I don't think we found
But,
one issue yet.
So we have the scene where they've got guns laid out all over the table. And they continue, please. I like where this is going already. Not a word has been spoken, and I'm already thinking this is my favorite part of the episode. Please, Sandra, tell me your thoughts.
My absolute favorite part of this is Chad coming down the stairs after his shower and telling Alex, yeah, I think you got, or next time let me make the deal. I think you got screwed or whatever. Based on what knowledge? You grew up in France and work as a gymnast. You've never held a gun in your life. You looked at it for about 2 seconds and said that, oh yeah, you got a bad deal. To which Alex just fires the gun. It's like, yeah, you're an idiot.
Dude, there is one scene, one shot in this movie where Chad is just hugging his gun because he doesn't know how to use it. He's just holding on to it for dear life. But here he's playing it like he knows everything about gun deals and how things work. No.
I think if you wanted to further differentiate the characters, first of all, you don't do this.
No.
Make it that Chad has never used a firearm. Even when he's handed one, he's a little reluctant to it. But Alex doesn't know martial arts. So you're even keeping the fighting style of the two brothers different, where one of them is doing the hand-to-hand and the other one is doing the gun stuff. Because for a Van Damme movie, I expect a lot more martial arts. And it feels like there's a lot more shootouts in this than actual fight scenes with, like, fisticuffs.
Yeah. Agreed. Oh, God. There is... What was the promotion for this? Okay, I can't find it now. It was like comparing, like, one does this, one does that. And they're like, well, no, they both do the exact same thing.
Yeah, in the end, they both do the exact same thing. So why not keep it separate, right? Because Chad growing up, in France and for however long in the States might not have any reason to learn how to use a gun. But he's a martial arts instructor. He can do that. And then the other one, well, he grew up on the streets. He's not taking time to learn martial arts, but he's definitely using a gun.
Another way to separate them, give them more character. Alex says at some point in the movie that he grew up on the streets. And now he has his own club. He's got some weird, criminal connections, of course. So when they hit Zhang's drug drop at the Bay, why not recruit some of your friends? It's just him, a brother he didn't know he had, and an old guy who he never knew, who claims to have been his father's bodyguard, who let his father get murdered.
Another question for you, and this could be my ignorance. Maybe I missed this in the wonderful explanations they do. Why did they hit the drug warehouse?
I don't know.
Were they trying to draw their enemies out? They already know where they are.
Yeah.
Are they trying to cripple them financially? Because if that's the case, they know that that's not enough.
No, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I mean, even with this scene, give us a preamble. Give us a scene of Chad getting some gun training. Because Alex just tells him to watch his back and don't fuck up. What are you expecting?
Thanks, coach.
Yeah, what are you expecting at this point? Here, take this. I know you've never fired a gun in your life. Watch my back. Don't let me die. No, I would not entrust a person with that.
I also love how he essentially tells Chad to watch his back and not screw up, and then goes into the warehouse where there's no plausible means that Chad would have eyesight on what is going on to have his back.
But Chad then slow-mo kicks a guy in the face and then shoots another goon, so the cover's blown. What did we all expect here?
And my favorite part is that Alex's cover is not blown, because after that happens, no one is attracted to him yet.
Here's a question for you.
Oh God, this has not worked out in this episode so far, but go ahead.
We just saw them prep for this attack while standing around a table loaded with assault rifles.
Yeah.
Alex brings 2 handguns.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, because he's going to be doing the stealthy part. You can't be weighed down by all of that equipment.
So he has 2 handguns. Chad has a submachine gun that was not on the table. Frank has a sniper rifle.
Actually, there was a assault rifle on the table. He even cocks the barrel at one point.
Yes, on the table. I said that it was assault rifles on the table, but they don't have them in the siege.
Oh, okay, sorry. The way you said that, I thought you said they weren't on the table.
No, they are.
Yeah.
It's loaded with assault rifles. But Alex
I made a
brings
mistake.
Handguns. Chad has a weird submachine gun. Frank has a sniper rifle. So what happened to these M16s? Where are those? Those don't show up again.
So Frank's part of the mission was to just stand on the rooftop across the way and hope that he can be of use. Because, again, Alex, much like telling Chad to watch his back, goes inside where there's no line of sight.
Nothing makes sense. Nothing here makes sense. Chad's almost shot in the face, but the guy takes his time and only then is sniped by Frank. What is Frank doing?
What is that guy doing? He just stands there with the laser sight pointed on his face for 45 seconds.
The whole shootout scene exists solely to show off Van Damme's moves.
Oh, yeah,
that one scene where he does
firing.
That, don't even start on that. The kip up he does. He could just roll to the side. You don't need to kip up and hide behind a car door.
But he's a martial artist. He has to show off his moves.
Yeah, exactly. This entire shootout is just to show what Van Damme can do.
So you didn't like the rolling shooting scene?
No, because most of the shots he fired when he was rolling would have hit the floor immediately.
Oh, it was terrible.
The next day, Danielle tries to convince Alex that Griffith is on the up and up. And he says,
what?
Well, he says, just keep looking. And then she's like, oh yeah, by the way, he has an important meeting that night at a club owned by Zhang.
The part that I find ridiculous is that he tells you to look into him. You get interrupted by, I guess, the head of security. I don't know what you want to call this woman.
I don't know what she is. I like her, but I don't know.
So you get interrupted. So you didn't even you weren't even able to complete your first investigation. And you're like, no, he's clean. It's like, how do you know? You didn't finish anything one way or the other.
Yeah.
Useless.
So what's the new plan now?
I don't know, because this plan makes less sense than most of their other plans.
The plan is to blow everything up. This is a terrorist attack.
But what is their delivery method? One goes in first with a box, then another one goes in with a box. You're not thinking you might get spotted. Like, what is the purpose of this? I don't get it.
I like it. I actually do. Because it brings up the whole cognac thing.
At one point, Chad even says, oh, I have another crate in the car. Let me just go get it. It occurs to me that both of the crates that have been brought in so far could have been done by the same brother.
I like that they made the two of them look alike. It seems simplistic and expected, but I did not expect it. I expected them to play off of their differences throughout the entire film. So making them look alike, I really enjoyed.
I'll give it the nice little touch that, like, ponytail thug even comments on Chad's, like, wounds from the assault at the shipping container healing quickly, right? Like, that's kind of a nice little touch. Oh, you recovered fast, right? But it's really not giving it that much credit. That's the best I can do here.
Yeah, it doesn't go as planned. I have to ask.
Some woman asks Frank to dance.
Yes.
He says no, and Alex is like, you should dance. Like, he mouths the words to him. Why?
I don't know.
How does that help with their cover? If he doesn't want to dance, just don't make him dance.
Here's a question for you.
Oh, God.
The bombs go off. None of the villains are killed, but there are dead bodies.
What is the radius of these bombs? Because they were in the same room as them, but didn't.
Our heroes have just killed multiple civilians. Well, and no villains whatsoever.
Let's just choose to be generous here and say that those weren't civilians. Those were more of the faceless hired thugs. So at least they were bad people.
Sure.
But it's still an entirely ineffective plan, because one of these cases is in the room with all of the villains, and they're able to just run out unscathed.
There is one part of this movie that made me feel like a complete idiot.
Okay.
I remember the first time I saw it. It's when Zhang and Griffith see the brothers, and they're like, there's two of them. And I was like, what? I'm like, wait, I knew this. I've been watching the movie the whole time. It was a major revelation to me. I'm like, why am I surprised? Like, I knew this from the very beginning.
Maybe you were surprised because at that moment you realized that they didn't know that the two of them were around.
Let's go with that. Kara finds Danielle going through the files again.
Didn't close the door, didn't get a lookout, it failed once. Maybe it won't fail again.
Well, yeah, but here she, like, quote, frisks her. It's a very, very weird scene.
Frisk is generous. There's a lot of people violating each other in this movie.
That's why we cut to the island where Chad's making noodles. One of my favorite parts about this movie is as he's pouring the noodles into another wok, I think. Do you see the birds hanging off to the side?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
they're not refrigerated or anything.
He's killed the pigeons that have been living in the hotel. I love that.
I didn't even get that.
Yeah.
I just thought they had a bunch of poultry for food.
No, he's been killing the birds that have been living in the building.
I don't know if that's true, but I would choose to believe that that is what happened.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense because they're not flying around at that point. Danielle calls the satellite phone, but Alex and Frank are in the jungle, so Chad answers. She doesn't want to talk on the phone. Seems like she knows that people are listening in, and Chad blatantly explains what he's going to do and then heads to the mainland.
Yep.
Time doesn't exist in this movie.
Pretty poor attempt to tell Frank and Alex that he's going. He just kind of shouts out once and then leaves.
Have you noticed that day and night?
No, just don't. Just don't.
Randomly happen.
Do yourself a favor and don't.
So it's late afternoon. We know it's a few hours to take the boat back to Hong Kong. Chad gets to Alex's bar in record time. It's still daylight. Danielle shows him the files documenting that Griffith did indeed do everything Frank said. But why would that be in a file?
I don't know. You got to keep records of your murders.
Right? Why didn't he just have some document saying that Paul Wagner signed everything over to him?
Yeah.
Forge the documents.
Yeah, I think all she really found in the file was a little more evidence of the loan that caused it to happen, where they can kind of infer the rest. But I'm just going to choose to ignore that.
You could be like, yeah, I gave the Wagners money.
It corroborates Frank's story a little bit more. Be like, how would Frank know that if he wasn't privy to it?
I guess.
But I'm more concerned
in
with
a court of law. You're like, yeah, he loaned them money legally. Everything went through legally. They were murdered. There's no connection between them that we can prove. The whole plot of this movie is hearsay on what Frank is telling these two brothers. That's why I'm saying it would be great if he turned out to be the villain.
Yeah, well, question this for a minute. Why did he even kill their parents? If this tunnel does not generate additional income.
I don't know. I don't know.
Right. And I want to go back to this Danielle scene for a moment, because like we said, she indicates that she knows that people might be listening in.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes to Alex's bar and waits for Chad.
Yes.
Just leave work and make your initial phone call from the bar where they have phones.
Thank you. That is a problem I had as well.
I know that they'll be tapping phones, so I'm going to call from...
It gets even worse from here, man. Because Alex calls the bar and gets confirmation that Chad is there with Danielle. And he's talking to his bartender. It's like, put him on the phone. And the bartender's like, sure, boss, just let me go and get him. And I don't know what Alex says here, but it's either no or now.
I think it's now.
It doesn't make sense. It's like, let me go get him now. Well, yeah.
You know what? You're right. This is the first time something didn't make sense in this movie. Good pointing it out.
Thank you. So the henchmen arrive. Alex, on the island, continuously chain smokes that same unlit cigar that he's had all movie and repeatedly calls the bar.
And gets drunk.
Oh, does he ever. But Chad and Danielle escape, but are followed to the island. How are they this stupid?
But you think we're going to come to a conclusion on that now?
No, I guess not. No,
We've been trying this whole time.
I do like the on-foot boat-to-boat chase. I thought that was pretty fun. One thing that I found pretty funny is when they get to the last boat and there's nowhere else to go, Chad's really tightly hanging on to Danielle and telling her to jump. I'm like, well, let her go. And eventually they cut to a shot where he just pushes her into the water. Like, what the fuck? Also, question. How does Chad know how to steer a boat?
Read a book on it.
Right? He just knows how to do things in this movie with no reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, here Alex is getting wasted off of a never-ending bottle of whiskey because he keeps taking swigs of it and it never goes down. Well,
is that some sort of question I was supposed to answer?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were calling upon my knowledge of endless bottles of whiskey.
Sorry. Let's just cut to a nude scene on the boat where Danielle's getting dressed. And this is a scene you've told me about before, and I love your frustration with it.
I hate this scene so much, and it's one of the ones that stuck with me from when I was... Even as a kid watching this movie, this scene made no sense to me.
Alex starts visualizing his brother and Danielle having sex. Sandro, take it away.
That's the whole thing. What am I... You just described it.
No. Why does this scene seem so incredibly fucked up?
Well, he has no reason to believe that they would be sleeping together. And it's what's driving him to get completely wasted.
It's also Van Damme stressing out about Van Damme having sex with a woman who Van Damme is dating or seeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you described to me. He's getting upset about visualizing himself having sex with a woman. Obviously,
yeah,
two different characters.
Itself is a different character.
I know, but when you take a step back and look at it, it's hilarious.
Yes, from a visual standpoint. I was thinking from a storytelling standpoint. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason for Alex to believe this and get completely wasted as a result. Not to mention, he's on the phone with the bartender when they hang up and doesn't question, maybe something else is going on here rather than infidelity.
It's a good point.
Oh, that bartender must be in on it and covering for them.
Frank's pissed when Chad returns. Even more confused that Danielle is in tow for some reason. So now Chad and drunk Alex fight. What are your thoughts on this scene? I think we're going to differ.
I'm okay with the actual fight scene of it. The motivation and reasoning makes no sense, but I feel like the whole reason that jealousy angle existed was to find a way to get to this point where let's show off our technology and have Van Damme fight Van Damme.
I think it looks really good. I think it's a really well done fight scene. I don't think there are any janky effects because, again, they use double blocking really, really well.
The only janky effects are when they actually try to put them side by side in a scene, not when they're using body doubles. Body doubles, those scenes are done phenomenally.
I'd say even when they're on screen together, for 1991, it's really good. Really, really good.
But it looks janky now.
A little bit, sure. Frank breaks up the fight with some light gunfire, which really makes no sense because don't waste bullets. You can't afford it.
No, they got a whole table of it, man.
Oh, yeah, the guns that they don't take to the gunfights.
Exactly, which means they'll have more available right now.
And Chad has a hissy fit and runs into the jungle. Chad, we're on the other side of the fucking ocean. Then I'll swim. All right. I hate him. I hate him so much. Cut to the next morning where hungover Alex wakes up on a beach and witnesses their hideout being raided by the militia. And
maybe I missed it, but I don't remember Alex going outside. I remember Chad running away.
Yeah.
But to me, it was just like this, it felt awkward cut where it's like, oh, he's just outside all of a sudden. In fact, the first time I rewatched this, I thought that was Chad for a second because he's the one that ran away.
No, you see, Alex has his hair slicked back and Chad doesn't.
Mm-hmm. How silly of me.
But Chad also wakes up in the jungle to see the same thing. So Zhang takes Frank and Danielle hostage, and the last 30 minutes of the movie is basically an ongoing action scene. The brothers dispatch everybody except for one, whom they get intel from. And the main showdown of the movie happens on one of Griffith's ships called the Golden Glory, torturing Frank.
That is the other scene that stuck with me from when I was a child.
It's really good, right?
It's really good, but also it's stuck with me not for good reasons. It's
pretty brutal. That steam
looks
steam
so
torture.
brutal. Yeah.
And Geoffrey Lewis, man, he is giving his all. He is so convincing in this scene.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that part of why it stuck with me is because as a kid, I was like, he's actually in pain.
Yeah. No, I would believe it. Like, he nails the emotion in the scene. But from here on, it's just the brothers heading toward Frank and Danielle. So like, we get...
I gotta point out another part here. I just have to.
Is it Spurs guy?
No, it's back with Frank.
Okay.
They want to draw out the brothers, so they fire a gunshot over the PA to imply that they killed Frank. And in my mind, I'm like, why didn't they just kill Frank? They have no reason to fake it out. They want him dead anyway. Why did they kill him? Or why didn't they actually
killed
kill
both
him?
of them?
Yes.
The whole point is they want everyone dead. So you've got 2 of the 4. Just kill them.
Or if you're gonna actually kill Frank, you can still keep Danielle alive if you still believe you need bait, like they're not already coming to get you.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. Spurs guy henchman. The worst henchman, probably. He's not a good fighter. His shtick is he'll throw a kick and try and cut your throat with his spurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find that any Van Damme movie, kicks are going to be the move du jour.
Yeah. And he just gets murdered. Moon throwing barrels seems like a character out of a video game. So when he throws a barrel at Chad, do you think the best thing to do is to kick it straight on?
Yes, because that's what Van Damme does. Kicks. I just finished saying that.
Because it fucks up his leg. Why not just move? Take a step to the left or right.
Don't make me say it a third time, Ben.
Sorry. What do you think of Moon's death?
Kind of anticlimactic to me.
Right? It sucks. He's kicked into an exposed electrical panel, collapses, and sets fire to the gas spilled from the barrels. Honestly, it looks pretty epic, but a little ridiculous. And what's up with the guy who's going to rape Danielle? Why is that happening?
There's no reason for it at all.
Especially if Kara's already there, ready to attack whoever shows up. And then we get another dick grab.
Can you imagine even just the bosses walking in on this guy trying to sexually assault Danielle? Be like, dude, she's tied up to the... Like, what are you doing?
I don't know, man. But it makes him more of a villain than most of the henchmen we've seen already. The finale, Alex versus Zhang and Chad versus Griffith.
At no point during the course of this movie did I think Zhang had any sort of combat prowess that I would believe he would stand up to him in a one-on-one fight.
No, agreed. So we get Alex and Zhang on the crane, where the arm crush scene gave me chills. It was very intense. What do you think about Chad and Griffith, the container?
I don't know what to say.
I would have to say that probably the most suspenseful moment of this movie is when Chad pushes Danielle in between those two containers just as the other one comes by and could crush her or like rip a limb off or something. I thought that was done very well.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Chad goes, why not just run and jump in the water anyway?
I don't know. How far did he swim under that water to?
Right?
Because he pops up in the device after, for some reason, shooting the water? Like, what?
Here's another question.
Oh, God.
Griffith is shooting down at the air bubbles coming out of the water, but Chad's already gotten out, has gotten into the tractor or whatever it is. Where are the air bubbles coming from?
Fishies.
Sure. Why not at this point?
I'm not even putting effort into my stupid answers at this point.
So we go to the deaths of the villains. Zhang falls to his death and hits a crate on his way down. Looks amazing. Great villain death.
Amazing too, but it's like, he might not be dead.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that too, but he would be pretty fucked up.
But for an action movie, not seeing a confirmed kill like that where he fell through crates, it's like, all right, those are crates full of pillows. He's banged up, but he's all right.
He broke through a lot of wood, dude.
It's an action movie, dude.
Griffith is crushed by a container.
He's done.
He's dead. End result? How does any of this benefit the brothers?
Well, now that they're dead, they have no legal claim to the tunnel still. And
they're also now murderers.
Yes, and we still have no verification on how this tunnel makes any money for them. Anyway,
Danielle and Frank are now accomplices to murder.
The only way that this makes sense, going back to one of the first things I said, is if the entire purpose was a revenge plot.
The brothers are heirs to something they aren't documented to inherit. So what is their legal status?
But that's what I said. Like, if the whole purpose of the movie was just to get revenge for their parents' killers, at least now you're like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got your revenge. They are taken care of.
Yeah. They are not documented as the sons of a murdered rich couple. They legally don't deserve anything. So where do we go from here?
Nowhere.
Chad gives the okay sign. We get a freeze frame and then roll credits. End of movie.
I can't remember an action movie that ends so blatantly without showing any follow-up to the actions of the protagonists.
Nothing.
Like, Frank walks out from wherever he was, because you don't see him too much, even when whatever, he shows up, the brothers hug, and that's it. Movie's over.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Why did you pick this movie?
Because it's hilarious. That's why.
All right. Let's get into some numbers, man.
All right. Budget? What do you think?
12 million.
Somewhere between 15 and 16.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah. What do you think it made?
This was before Universal Soldier, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
35.
30.1.
Ooh.
So
I'll take it. That's pretty close.
Broke even, kinda.
Yeah. No.
Ratings over at the IMDb.
5.1.
Close, man. 5.6.
Oh, okay.
That's the highest rating we'll cover right now.
Oh, geez.
Percentage of positive reviews by critics at Rotten Tomatoes.
47.
33.
Oh, God. Okay.
Audience.
29.
42.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All of them higher than I would have expected.
Tell us
But,
how you really feel.
Yeah. Let's get into awards.
Beautiful. You start us off with your least favorite character.
Chad. I really hated Chad. His character made no sense whatsoever. And he was played up to be like the lovable, wishy-washy character, and I hated everything he did. What about you?
I went with Chad as well. There's definitely some honorable mentions here.
Yeah.
Like Alex, who also is played by Van Damme, mostly after the whole jealousy thing, because before that he's not bad. But it has to be Chad. Like, I don't even understand where this is coming from, because usually you have this character in this movie where it's like, oh, he's a lovable, bumbly guy, but there's one particular talent that he brings that is like invaluable, you know? Like maybe there'll be a lovable oaf that also is a fantastic computer hacker or something like that, right?
Mm.
Chad doesn't really bring anything to the table. Like, we see that he can cook them food, I guess, and kill birds. But what does he actually bring to the table?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing. Who's your favorite character?
I went with Frank by Geoffrey Lewis. I just love his presence on camera. I think that he is the strongest actor in this movie. And there's just like a gruffness to Frank that I can really appreciate in a movie like this.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
You?
I went with you're gonna hate this. I went with Alex.
I don't totally hate it, because up until the jealousy scene, I was considering it.
I love Alex as a character in this movie. I love his reaction to things. I love how un-PC he is all of the time. He is the epitome of honest reaction. We don't get that anymore. He's a shitty character, don't get me wrong.
Who has some very shitty lines.
Yes.
Like, even when he's calling Danielle to tell her that they're going on like their fishing trip, Danielle almost like mockingly or jokingly is like, "Oh, give your brother a big kiss for me." And he's like, "I'll give him a big kick in the ass. How about that?" It's like, well,
I love it.
Bad line.
Terrible line.
So,
but I love that character who's he's pissed off by everything. I love it. I think he's hilarious. Terrible. But in an early 90s action film filled with horrible characters, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Okay. What did you have for your favorite or most memorable line?
Definitely not favorite, but memorable for sure, because of how stupid the writing is.
Okay.
It's Danielle saying, "Alex, he's your brother." And Alex responds, "Brother? Why? Because he looks like me?" like, no, because you're actually brothers.
But at the same time, if he looks that similar to you, be like, yeah, that's probably a part of it, man.
It's so dumb, but I love it. What about you?
So at the 1 hour and 43-minute mark, Chad says, "Alex." And then he goes to find his brother, post-fight, and the final 3 minutes of the movie play out with no further dialogue. And it is my favorite scene because it's the last one, or it's my favorite line because it's the last word spoken in this movie.
Interesting.
Because it meant it was going to be over.
Wow. Okay. I see your final thoughts showing through. Memorable scene?
I got to tell you, dude, like, I was so hard pressed to come up with a favorite line. Because I'm like, there aren't any in this movie.
Yeah, the lines are pretty terrible.
Yeah, they are. Okay, so for my favorite scene, it was the Frank being tortured by steam scene, because that stuck with me from when I was a child.
Okay. That makes sense.
It looks so brutal. And like Geoffrey Lewis sells it so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very, very good. For me, it would be the sex scene.
Okay.
Need I go on?
No.
Yeah.
That pretty much covers it, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so let's get into our final thoughts on Double Impact. What is your final thought on this movie?
This is a really dumb movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. I felt that that's where you were going.
Oh my God. It's so much fun. It is so stupid. Everything about it is so incredibly stupid. But it does not feel like it's over an hour and a half long. It really doesn't. I enjoy everything about this. It doesn't make sense. Don't get me wrong. Like, none of it is sensible. It's just a really fun watch. And I think Van Damme does a really good job at playing two different roles in this movie. I don't think he got across what he was trying to.
Well, the problem is that he was one of the writers.
I know.
I think he could have pulled this off if there was a better writer making more competent dialogue for these characters.
But it did so well for him that he did it 3 more times after this. Geoffrey Lewis, we can agree, is amazing in this movie. The character of Frankie is awful. But Geoffrey Lewis did the best he could with it, and he did a great job. There are very few characters in the movie, but I really did enjoy everything they did. It's just a fun early 90s action film, man. It's a little bit longer than it needs to be, but yeah, I would totally recommend this movie. It's just it's too much fun not to recommend. Do you have to watch it repeatedly? No. But like, if you haven't seen this movie, check it out. Like, it's a popcorn flick. You're gonna have fun. Crack a beer, have some popcorn, laugh with some friends. It's good. It's pretty good. It's probably one of Van Damme's better films. What do you think?
Hated it. I actually was gonna say I think this is one of Van Damme's worst movies.
Oh, well, you'd be wrong, but let's hear your reasoning.
This movie is awful. It's, first of all, I know it's going to sound a little basic, but it's not enough martial arts for a Van Damme movie. I don't watch a Van Damme movie to watch him fire a gun.
Interesting. I see where you're coming from there for sure. I never really thought about that.
I know that there's probably a lot further elements that need to go into it, but Arnold, Sly, fine, fire guns, but you're a martial artist. That's what you're known for. Give me, Bloodsport again, but not firing guns. When I think of Van Damme, the other thing I don't think of is his acting ability, and I don't need him doing it twice. This movie is entirely too long. It is loaded with plot holes. It is just, honestly, dude, and I hate to say this because I am genuinely a Van Damme fan. I like so many of the things that I've seen that he's done. I was bored with this movie and wanting it to end.
Wow, really? I did not expect that.
I didn't expect it. I'm not even kidding. The first time I rewatched this for the podcast, I was looking at the runtime so often because I'm like, I can't believe I have this much more of this to go. I was not entertained. I was not having fun. I hated this movie.
Oh man, I don't know what to say to that. I'm very surprised. I thought you would have loved it.
That's the thing. I went into the movie thinking, yeah, I saw this when I was a kid and I enjoyed it. It might be all right. And I was just devastated by how badly I was off on that.
Shit.
Whatever, it happens.
Yeah, wow. No, that's surprising. I do want to bring up something though.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to praise Bolo Young. We talked about him favorably, but in this and Bloodsport, he is absolutely amazing.
Of course, yes.
Yeah,
the only reason that I don't put him in things like favorite character is because he's very limited. He's just pretty much in there to do some fighting, doesn't really have a lot of dialogue, and he does everything that he's meant to do amazingly, but it doesn't really give you a character with, say, a lot of depth.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like if we had favorite performance, he would have been number one. This guy sells everything he does and sells it 100%. I know it's kind of wedging another little award in there, but I just wanted to give him a little bit more recognition.
No, I respect it, man.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, well, I think it's time to close the books on that one. That was our thoughts on Double Impact. If you'd like to share your thoughts, hit us up on social media. We are on Twitter at BSBargainBin, Facebook.com/BSBargainBin, BSBargainBin.com, and YouTube.com/@BSBargainBin. Merchandise is available under our support tab on our website. And please, if you are watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff helps us out. Ben.
Yes, sir.
You got another pick coming up. What are we watching next week?
I'm torn on 3 movies.
Okay, is this going to be one of those give me the years thing?
Yep. So you've got 1989, 1990, and 1994.
I'm feeling the older one, 89.
Oh, you shot yourself in the foot. So next week, we'll be talking 1989's Roadhouse.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen,
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
and usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude! Ask him to walk, but be nice. Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
He may be hard to handle,
I keep talking, you're gonna go off thinking I'm a nice guy.
I know you're not a nice guy.
but he's easy to like.
What's the matter, Dalton? Don't you like women?
Worst I ever had was wonderful.
He's not what you'd expect.
I thought you'd be bigger.
But there's one thing you can count on. He's the best friend a good time ever had.
You guys tired?
Doc, I'll get all the sleep I need and I'm dead. This is my town.
I'm not afraid of him.
I guess you'll be having that fire sale now, all right? Got your hands full, kid.
I just think I'm looking at a dead man.
Patrick Swayze.
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Roadhouse.
Until next week, have a good one.
All the best.